the new year or what's happening? So hey, everybody got their Christmas credit card bills and trying to get back to work. What's going on?
About 17 people on Facebook.
17 people on Facebook. So there's more people here than there are on Facebook. That's different. That's different. Right?
That is good.
Yeah. But later on that'll change.
It picks up about 10 minutes into the meeting.
So what's the market doing? Anybody who can give me some feedback here? What's happening? Who did open houses?
Ken did an open house.
Did open house? What?
Yes, yesterday,
And where was it?
in Georgina. And
Georgina. Holy smokes.
We'll go everywhere.
Yeah, it was really busy. A lot of
Really?
people in and out. Didn't even get a chance to speak to everyone because just so many people coming.
So
through.
lots of people coming through, right? Okay. And did you happen to pick up any buyers particularly? No.
Potentially, there's a lot of
Potentially?
people that were interested.
I know somebody else that did an open house. I can't remember where. I don't know where it was. Michael.
Oh, same.
Oh, okay. He had like 40 people or something, he said. So
Yeah, so he did both days, had 30 people both days, about 60 groups came through. It was a 499 list price, so they had a lot of first time home buyers come through.
it was a cottage.
It's like they call it a secondary home. It could be a cottage or a house.
And how much was list price?
499.
499. Okay. Oh, that's fine. Okay. So there's lots of buyers out there. Unfortunately, they're all looking for 499. We had one there. I was talking to an agent, and he had a fully detached house for sale in Ajax at Salem, south of 401. So there's a little pocket between Salem and Harwood, I guess. And a little pocket there. It's kind of old homes, like 1950s home, whatever else. So the property was listed for around 850. And at 850, what do you think? It's fully detached house. Be a bungalow to boot. Old wartime house, like 1950s, whatever else. So 850 got nothing going on it. So we reduced the price to 799. Nothing happened. Put the price back to 859, and then he just sold it. Less than 859. So people come to me and saying, gee, there's properties fully detached for less than $900,000 in Durham. Yes, there is. So I think a lot of people maybe missed out on this one because they thought 850, they're probably trying to get $1 million. And I think this is the story I'm trying to make here, is that a lot of people avoided this property because they thought maybe it was going to go for $1 million. You're asking 850, everything's going for multiple offers. So they thought maybe it was going to go for, well over 850, and that's the end of it. So they didn't put any offers in, but then things sells for 850. So I think a lot of people thought, gee, I had no idea. Do you find that? I don't know. Do you guys find that the prices have changed a little bit? Talking to a fellow here this morning here about another client who was like a moving target. We give him what he wants. It wasn't our listing. Give him what he wants, and the seller keeps on changing his mind. Keeps on bumping up the price, 50,000. Keeps on bumping up the price. I want 1.5. You give 1.5. No, I want 1.1550. All right, give 1.550. No, I want 1.6. So it's like you're bidding against yourself. So that's what's happening out there too. Anybody else open houses? No. Anybody else have any listings they want to talk about? It's not funny, eh? It's funny how it goes. How in a market where when the market's I don't know, when the market's tough, everybody wants to talk about those things right now, but you don't know, right? So what do you got, Alex? All right, that's it. So that's a good. I was wondering when those would start coming, right? Assignments. So 2 assignments. I was waiting for that to happen. Who else put up their hand? Someone else put up their hand. Who put up their hand? Durant? Oh,
Yeah,
you did an open house? Good for you.
my agents are doing open houses. We are seeing a lot of people buying a house and the families, like 2-3 buyers coming together.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so that makes sense too, right? So to overcome the qualifications. So that goes back to the old days too, right? So yeah, so a lot of buyers are getting together with 2 or 3 buyers trying to get into the market, right? Would everybody agree that the prices have dropped since the peak by what? I'm just thinking like you're talking to somebody, let's say over coffee, or you got you're over the weekend there, you're with somebody there, and somebody says, what's the market doing? Do you think the market's, have the prices dropped since the peak?
Yes.
And the peak in the peak since February, right? Anybody have any idea how much they've dropped since February? right? Since February, so it's like February, the price of what, 1.3, and now it's 1 million, so it's about $300,000 drop, so it's about a 30% drop, right? 16% drop from last year, right? But from the peak, from it's good 30%, right? So I think the market's finished. The way I see it, and the way the stats I'm looking at, the market's finished, and somebody just said the prices are increasing. Who said that? Shanaz? Who said the prices are increasing?
Downtown, because there were some properties that I sent my client, they seemed interested, and every single one is sold conditional to status. A condominium or condos,
So that's
every single one. Downtown,
every single condo was sold.
I mean, in the budget that they were looking, under 700. They were all gone.
So I just ran some numbers this morning just to get an idea what the
On the area too, right? Yeah, it was downtown near the water. Oh, okay, see,
downtown condos are selling over asking.
near the water.
It's funny you say that because I'm looking at the stats here. I just ran some stats just before I came upstairs just to get an idea what's going on. If I looked at the what he said is, okay, since the 5th of February till today, he said what, 7 days or so, right? What are the sales? So I just did, what are the sales? And I brought it up for Durham, bought it for Toronto, bought it for York. So if we look at Toronto, for instance, freeholds, the price, a median price that sold for was 1.22. That's downtown only, just the 416 area. There's 146 homes that sold in the last since the last week in the 416 area, Toronto. And of the 146, only 66 sold over asking. Not only, but 66 sold for over asking. So someone get the math out. 66 and 146. Okay, let's say it's 30, almost 50%. And last week we said it was 30%. A couple weeks ago, we said it was 30% was the properties that they're selling over asking. Now it's getting closer to 50%, right? But the prices are interesting because they're this is Toronto, which is the 416. Prices 1.3. This is the sold price 1.3, 1.1, 1.025, 17, 12, 13, 12. So it's not the 17s, not the 18s, not the 25s, not the 7s. It's all in that sort of that sweet spot, right? If you guys notice that if you got prices, if you got properties in that less than $1 million that you are getting multiples, you are getting lots of showings, you are getting lots of activity at the open houses. But if you're sitting with a $2 or $3 million property, is that the same story? Right. So it seems to me like a lot of people are sort of going right into that price range, right? So that was the 416 detached. And then I just thought, okay, let's do York region. There was 87 properties sold in the last week, and 40 of those sold for over asking. So again, it's almost 50%. Price ranges again are 1.3, 1.4, 1.8, 1.1, 1.2, 1. So again, it's not the high price, it's sort of the medium price, but nowhere near the 1.3. It's almost the same as the average price right now. Right, which is interesting. Durham, there was 98 properties that sold, 48 of them sold over asking. So it's gone from 30% forward. So does that mean the market's picking up? Does that mean the market's going very strong with having all these properties selling over asking?
Because it's underpriced. Spring is here.
Because it's underpriced. So.
Yeah, but we know that these properties were engineered. I call it engineered, right? These are engineered prices, meaning that they sold for asking. But you want to take this information and turn it around to your clients, saying, "Hey, the market's picking up. You better get going. You don't want to miss out. All these buyers here, they're buying it. So you want to get the buyers in the mood of buying." Do we have a problem right now in the market? Is it lack of inventory or lack of buyers? Let me rephrase that. Is it lack of inventory, lack of properly priced inventory, or buyers?
Properly priced inventory,
Right.
properly renovated.
Because
upgraded
I think we've
inventory.
got a bunch of buyers just pin up waiting to go. Like a whole bunch, waiting for what? Waiting for the prices to come down, they can afford it. Right, but I think there's all kinds out there, and we've got sellers are sitting on the fence. Why? I don't know why. I still haven't figured that one out.
Need to buy something.
Because they can't, but nothing can buy cheap.
nothing to buy.
A lot of inventory. out
there's
there.
nothing to buy, right? So we need something to sort of push us over the edge somehow there, because it's like a standstill, or everybody sort of, whatever it is, so we'll see what happens. I also did the same thing with the condos downtown, found the same thing, it's about 50%. So yeah, it does say what you're doing, so the market is doing okay. Just so you know, I know we asked a bunch of people to change their TrebNet address. I'm sure a lot of people have changed their TrebNet addresses, but some people maybe did not change the TrebNet address with Rico. So make sure you go to the Rico and change your address there for if you happen to be using the TrebNet. Reason why I say that is I know somebody that did have TrebNet, and they were emailing saying, hey, your license is about to expire. We're also, of course, they weren't getting the messages because it was a TrebNet address. But I think we've got things covered somewhere there. Okay, just something to talk about. Toronto Real Estate Board, we couldn't figure this out, but now we did figure it out. So Toronto Real Estate Board, if you go to Realm, for instance, Realm, you go to print out, and you can print out in what, 2, 3, 4, 5 pages, something like that. If you go to print out a listing, you can change it for so it's a stratus view, so it can print out 1 page. But now something's happened with Trev again. I don't think they want us to print paper, but I buy more paper today than I've been buying ever. Everybody says it's paper society. So now I've had to double the budget for paper because of what Trev did. What'd they do? They added 3 lines to the Toronto MLS. Remember those 3 lines they added? Inclusions, exclusions, rental items. And they also increased the number of characters that you can put in for comments. And as soon as you put those comments in and put those 3 things in, your paper now comes out in 2 sheets. And you can't change to 1 sheet. I tried to fit to a page, I tried to fit to, scale it, tried to do all these types of things, and it still comes out in 2 pages. So it looks like we go 1 step forward and 2 steps back. I don't know. Does anybody notice that?
I didn't know.
There is a workaround. I guess there's one workaround, which somebody did find out by mistake, but it worked out okay. Rather than printing from the print box, just print from your browser and then it'll go to 1 page. But it misses the header where you got your name on the top and the date that it was printed, and misses all that, and it misses the footer too. But it's on 1 page, so. Everybody's looking at me like, why are we still using paper? It should be all on our phones. It should be all like, what's this paper for, right?
Yep.
But I'm buying more paper now than I ever did, so I don't know, you tell me.
So wrong.
I think I would guess that every time that you guys do a listing presentation, I bet you print out paper and give your clients paper.
Yeah, got to sign on the spot.
Is that true or not true?
Yeah.
So that's where all paper is. So everybody says that the paperless society, maybe internally, but when you do your presentation, I think you actually do a physical piece of paper, don't you?
Yeah. It's better.
So nobody thinks this part through, but anyways, that's okay. 70,255 agents on the real estate board.
That was last year in December.
December last year,
That was as of December.
December last year. So they haven't done it. Yeah, it's only February now. They've been adding about 300 per month. So
I thought they've been losing some of them,
I would have thought they would have lost a whole bunch.
10%.
November went from 70,376 to 70,255. So it actually went down. But I think it'll go down more and more as we get into it. So a lot of it's getting more and more expensive, right? Okay, so I like these headlines. So it says here that Toronto sales forecast to fall to levels not seen in 2 decades. So where would you use this headline? So Toronto home sales forecast to fall to levels not seen in 2 decades. This is Trev predicts that prices will rise this year, but will still be lower than 2022. So the headlines are always interesting, but you want to use headlines.
That's conflicting.
Yeah.
You take the information and you spin it to the way that you talk to your clients. Right? So
It's good for the buyer.
I'm wondering if it's good for the buyer or good for the seller, because the seller's saying, well, I want to get what the neighbor got. And we're saying, well, the neighbor got that, but you're not going to get yours for another 2 decades. So you might want to think about doing something now than later. That'd be one answer, right?
Oh, that's what I'm saying, that it won't go up to that level for decade.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Right.
I thought we put 5 to 10 years.
Home sales in GTA will decline to their lowest level since 2001 this year, despite a rebound in the second half. This is Trev. So what Trev is saying is that they're predicting the sales, well, let's get into this. Yeah, they're predicting sales for 2023 to be 70,000. Do you remember what we were in 2022?
22 was 75,000.
75,000, right? So they're going from 75. So that's what they're predicting.
113,000.
I'm sorry?
21 was 120,000.
Yeah, somewhere around there. I know that the big years were there, but it's kind of interesting though to see how it's going down. So Trevor's saying it's going down. This is what your clients are reading. So I wanted to be prepared for, right? They're also saying that the average prices will reach about 1.14, which is actually higher than it is today, because today it's 1,034,000. So they actually predicted prices to go up. So what does sell, they're saying it's going to be selling for a little bit higher. Right? Nothing big because it's still 114, and it's predictions. Everybody knows predictions. You can't tell, something's going to happen tomorrow that'll affect the future too, which they can't predict. Toronto house prices expected to dip again this year. So I talked about sales volume. Now I'm talking about prices. And Toronto real estate boards says here house prices and sales to dip again this year in 2022. As the real estate continues to lull for the first part of 2023. Rising prices and sales in the second half of the year as buyer demands pick up thanks to record immigration, high employment, fixed mortgage rates, and they're all trending lower. So they're saying here that, yes, the prices are going to dip down for this quarter and maybe the next quarter, but the second and third quarter will be back to normal. So that's okay. And when they talk about minus and negatives, we're talking a little bit. We're talking about like 4% drops. We're not talking about 25% or 30%. These are just little things. And we have to remember that that the reporters at the Toronto Star and all the other papers, they have to put in an article in every week to get paid. So they're creating these articles here and these headlines just to get things going, right?
Yeah.
So you've got to use them to your advantage, whichever one you want to use. So again, Toronto home prices expected to dip again this year. I said before, Toronto home sales forecast to fall level. And then it says here, when the dam breaks, pent-up demand for housing is growing. It could lead to the bigger than ever crisis. What the heck are you talking about there? So what they're saying here in the same paper, this individual here, he hopes to get a job soon. He's going to Ivy School of Business. I guess that's in London. He hopes to buy a house. He'll also need some financial support, get some money from his parents. Third-year students also looking for home searches. So these people are all part of the pent-up demand. So the purpose of the article here is saying you've got all these university students that will be coming into the market. Forget about the immigrations. Everybody talks about new immigrants coming to Canada and all these folks. The article saying forget about all the external stuff. Let's look internal. And we've got all these university students that want to buy property, and all this pent-up demands coming in, and it's all coming out. And the builders have said, hey, we're going to not build this year. They've stopped 30,000 units this year because of the way the economy is going. So the builders are not building as much inventory as they want. So we have this demand coming. You've got this supply not coming, even though they're saying that they want to build 1.5 million homes in the next 10 years in Ontario. I'll read it later on, but Ontario's never, in the history of Ontario, has never built more than 750,000 homes in 10-year span.
In 10 years?
In a 10-year span, Ontario has never built more than 750,000 homes. So not only does government want us to build the 750 that were already built, they want to build 1.5 million on top of that. So it's in 10 years, right? So
Over 2 million?
well, now you tell me, but I mean, if they're already doing 750 and they want to do 1.5 million, when they do an additional 1 point, right?
But that's just to build, but
Just a bill, right?
just to catch up the gap.
But the buyers are not there today.
Well, they're saying there are. They're saying here that they're pent up, and that's what it's saying. When the dam breaks, it's going to be bloody, which is good for us, right? Which is good for us because we just want volume, right? You just want sales, want volume. But there's all kinds of students, and just so you know, the immigration people that are coming to Canada, These are not immigrants. These are, sorry, these aren't refugees. They're immigrants. Mean students, they have jobs. So see, these aren't people that are gonna be taking resources. These aren't people that are gonna go in the welfare systems and that. These are people that are gonna be in the work stream right away. So it's all kinds of demand. So things are happening, right? So if you're a buyer with all this stuff coming down, I think you want to buy sooner than later. So some buyer says, well, I want to wait. Well, wait for what? Wait for everybody else to, now's the time. That's the conversation. I don't know how, could it get political now or not? So Korea, I've never liked Korea before. Now Korea's sort of getting on my list now too. So Korea came up with that no exclusive listings, and that was supposed to be effective January 1st. But they're giving the individual real estate board 6 months to come up with rules. And what the Korea's trying to say, and I guess this happens outside Ontario, outside Toronto. But what they're trying to say here is that if property is marketed, in other words, if you got a property that's exclusive, you can have a property exclusive, you just can't put a sign on, just can't advertise it. As soon as you do advertise it, they want it on MLS. All kinds of resistance, all kinds of people are resisting. But we'll see what they come up with that. So now what Korea's done. What TREB did. Okay, TREB has that company called PropTex. I talked about that before. I'm getting kind of political here, but I'll just touch on it briefly. TREB is making too much money. So rather than reducing our fees, they decided they'll start another company called PropTex. And now they're creating this company. And now it's hooked up with Terranet and some other companies, and they're going to create this blockchain real estate something or other. I don't know exactly what it is, but they're doing some for-profit thing. And the question with the TREB stuff, with this PropTech is owned by TREB. The question that I get is who gets the profit? Like, is this for profit or is this non-profit? If it's for profit, who gets the profit? Because we own it.
Profit should be coming to Trump, right?
It should be coming to TREB, shouldn't it? Right? In what? In either cash or reduced fees. So they're going back to where we did
So all
before,
the real estate is getting cash back.
right? No, cash back.
Good idea.
What about realtor
That's a license, and you
So-
get
so
$1,000
now-
a year.
So now,
private as well?
yeah, so now what Korea wants to do, and Nelson and I have talked about this, it's probably a good idea, but a bad, I don't know how it's good or bad. Korea wants to privatize realtor.ca. They want to create it as a standalone profit center. Meaning that if they do what they're going to do, it's going to be similar to the NRA in the
Zillow.
States. It's going to be like Zillow, or it's going to be like realtor.com in the States. Realtor.com in the States is not owned by realtors, it's owned by individuals.
It's not the #1 site.
And then you
there.
gotta pay to advertise.
And if you want to be doing extra ads on realtor.com, you can put your ads on there, but so you got to pay for it, and so on and so forth. So it's not really owned by realtors, it's private. And it's
Why
actually,
should they do that?
they did it 100 years ago. They never
Why would they privatize it?
for Korea.
Money.
What they're saying here is they want to privatize it. And what they're saying here is that there's so much politics, like if they try to do something in Toronto that somebody in Vancouver doesn't want to do it, they can't do it. If somebody in Vancouver wants to do something on realtor.ca and Nova Scotia doesn't want to do it because it's a nationwide thing, it's difficult to get everybody on the same side with all these different real estate boards. So they want to make it private, have their own CEO, have their own thing, and let them make their own rules and run it for profit, meaning, yeah, they're going to run it for profit.
And
So
who's
what?
gonna get the profit?
Same thing, here we go. So Korea owns it, we own Korea. So who gets the profit? That's one of the questions they're asking. What it will do though is it will allow them to, for instance, Nelson and I have talked about this. Why in the world would Korea allow these other companies like Zillow, not even Zillow, House Sigma, all these guys? Why would they let these guys survive? Why wouldn't they just come up with a sold data on realtor.ca and that'll make these guys disappear? So if they do this and make it a private company, if the CEO of this new realtor.ca, that's the first thing he's going to do. It's going to make sold data available.
Yeah, they're gonna make it like a,
And then you're going to watch the Sucasas and the Home Sigmas of the world just disappear. Right. So it's good that they do it, but I don't like the idea that they're going to make it for profit. I like the idea that keep it, right?
It's not good for the agent.
And,
Like
and,
the
and what,
shop advertising now, I cannot advertise.
and what there's, yeah, but what they're also saying is if it's gonna be for profit, that means that people are gonna be able to advertise on this platform, individual agents, and they're saying here in the article that the rich agents are gonna be able to afford to have a very elaborate presence on realtor.ca, and the not so rich agents will not.
I have a friend that pays 70,000 a month to Zillow, 70,000.
Advertising budget.
Zillow, paying to Zillow.
Zillow's a big thing in the States. Zillow, a lot of guys, that's all they do. They don't open house. They don't advertise in local papers. All they do is do Zillow. That's all they do.
They don't do Google reviews, they do Zillow.
Yeah. And in Toronto, in Canada, Zillow has not taken off. You guys have access to Zillow. You guys have access to Zillow. You can
But
do the
they're
same
not doing
thing.
the same thing they're doing in the US, they're not marketing it.
They're not marketing it because they're competing against realtor.ca.
I think because the market share is so small, Canada,
Yeah, they're not investing a whole lot of money.
there's not enough money in the market.
Yeah, it could be. So that's coming down the tubes, and that's okay. We said this before, I thought it was interesting, but during the peak of the market, we were saying that 1 in 4 buyers were investor buyers. Remember we talked about that? Now it's coming true. Like we were saying that the buyers, now they've actually checked the data and they're seeing that that's true. They're saying that for condominiums in Ontario, 56% of all condominiums were sold to investors. In London, Ontario, 86%. And that makes sense because we saw lots of people here going to London and Kitchener and Cambridge, taking their clients and buying stuff out there. Right? Because of half the price, yeah. Right? And then they thought, and plus, if you're buying London, Ontario, you got there's 2 advantages for buying a rental property in London, Ontario. If you can get a student in there, because the students are only gonna be there for 1 year, they're gonna be gone. So you get another student in there, you can jack up the price the way you want. Right? You're not stuck on that stuff. But then the bad side, of course, is that you're competing with everybody else. You can't go crazy. You got to be compete with the other people. But 86%. But other places, Woodstock, Ontario, Norfolk, Ontario. Anybody know where Norfolk is? Everybody know where Woodstock is?
Yeah.
They're saying here that 99% of all the condominiums, all 3 of them in Woodstock, were sold to investors.
99?
99%.
There's only 3 buildings.
Say there's only 3 buildings. Owen Sound is over 80%. London's over
So
80%.
that's so far away.
Yeah, the ones that had the least amount were places like Windsor and Brockville, Belleville, Aurelia, Ottawa. Different. But 86% of the condos, so that's something else. Vacancy tax. This is interesting. How many people are in Toronto? The population. When you see the population of the 416 Toronto, what is it? 2.1? 2.1? 2.2?
I thought it was 3 million.
Yeah.
GTA is a 4.5 million. right?
No, just Toronto, 416.
2.5.
I think it's around 2.5, 2.3, 2.2, something around there. Anyways, 2.8. No, it is.
0.93 in 2017.
Yeah, 3 million.
Really? Okay, so. Reason why I ask is, I thought I had it here. Anybody know this guy?
Yeah.
So sad.
That's right.
I was telling everybody here, if I say to everybody here, that the guy's gone postal, you know what I'm talking about?
What's that?
If I say that somebody went postal, do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Someone goes postal, right? So now the new word is someone gone John Tory, you know what I'm talking about?
Less than half the age.
You know
This kid must be older than.
You know what's really weird? You guys tell me it's really weird. Guys, I was born the same year this guy was born, right? But I'm surprised the reactions. I have not heard anybody say that the guy's a dirtbag. Or the guy's like he's like a less than where else. Everybody sort of has some compassion for him somehow.
We used to call it.
They accepted and moved on.
Eh?
They accepted and moved on.
It's common.
Eh?
They didn't make a
What do
big
you
deal,
say,
otherwise it'd do that.
Yeah, exactly. It's not a big deal anymore.
This one again, it's funny, and yeah,
Bill Clinton was in.
so I started off by saying I'm the same age as Don Thorpe. Anyway, so vacancy tax. There are. What I was trying to get here, yeah, there are, so there's 2.9, we cited 2.9. There's 818,000 residences in 416.
How many?
800,000
What?
homes,
Vacant?
no, total. There's 800,000 homes that they sent these letters to in the 416.
In Toronto.
416. So that's about 2.5, 3 people per unit. Per house, right? And if we sold 125,000 a couple of years ago, that means like 25% of the, of course, that's all GTA though.
That's just it.
So that's okay. I'm not gonna go down that route. Anyways, it's too many numbers. But I thought that was interesting, but of the 818, 88% of them reported, another 10% did not. There's 90,000 people that did not report their vacancy tax status. And this is what we were talking about before. A lot of people are going to take that and throw in the garbage. So what they've had to do, they've had to extend it because of that, because 10% of the people have not done it. And the builders have a problem with the vacancy tax as well. The home builders, condo builders in particular, they'll sell pre-construction, but they don't 100% sell out. And when they finally register the building, a lot of developers still own suites in that building, even though it's been registered and sold out. And they're sitting there vacant. And the builders are saying to the city, like, you can't charge us because they're vacant, because we're trying to sell them, but they're not sold yet. And the cities, I don't know, they made an inquiry to see whether they can get that reversed.
They should charge them because they're holding them to sell them for a higher price.
Yeah. And these are already registered anyways. If they're being built, they're not effective. They're not part of the vacancy tax if they're in the middle of being constructed, but they're already built in their standing inventory. So should they be treated the same as everybody else? I don't know. The only problem we have is what Madame has, but where the only way they can sell them is to reduce the price, and they already sold it this guy for 100,000. They're going to sell it the next guy for 80,000. They may have some grief there. Right, so that's the issue there, but that's happening. So it's still not too late to talk to your clients on your Instagram or your stuff. Talk about the vacancy tax. Are you one of the 10%? Don't forget. Right, and it's been extended to the end of the month, so that's a good thing, right?
Jonathan's coming to talk to us later on Wednesday.
Okay, and when Jonathan, on Wednesday we've got a session. Is he coming in live?
Yeah, it's a lunch and learn. It's bringing lunch too.
Okay, so if you guys want lunch and learn, okay.
Yeah.
What's he bringing?
I don't know, but he said he'll bring lunch. Yeah, I should probably give him a number.
So when is it free lunch?
Make sure it's vegetarian. So it's,
What is that?
but we've got a lawyer's going to come in and talk about the vacancy tax. Jonathan Griffith, you know him at all?
So Wednesday, 11:30 here.
No, Jonathan Griffith.
Not a guess.
Now, what I want from Jonathan, he wrote a clause he didn't like, so he's got to give us another clause saying that what do we do to protect our buyers from buying a house that's vacant that the seller didn't disclose it? And I have a problem with that, because just going back to vacancy tax, and ask you what you did last year, not this year. So depending on what you did in 2022, if the property is vacant, then your 2023 tax is going to have a 1% surtax on it. So if you buy that property, you're going, as the current owner for 2023, you're going to get that 1% surcharge charged to you. So I want to have a clause in there saying that if that's the case, that the seller is going to be paying that 1%, not you.
They should provide the confirmation of the report.
Well, something, there's got to be something, we have something in our offer somewhere that protects us. But in the meantime, if you are buying until we get that clause I'm happy with. In the meantime, if you are buying a property that's vacant, give us a call just to make sure. Everybody understand the problem there? Because you wouldn't know, nobody would know. I don't know if I like this idea. Royal Bank just took over a company called OJO Canada. Anybody heard of OJO?
What is it?
Didn't do anything.
It's an American company anyways, but they're in Canada and
Financial?
they're a real estate brokerage.
And who bought them, sorry?
Right now they got 3 members, yeah. The real estate broker,
Yeah, it used to be Royal LePage when they first came out.
OJO.
Mhm.
There's only 3 people.
That's an American company, there's only.
It's an American company and now it's coming here, yeah. So anyways, Royal Bank bought the Canadian
Mhm.
operations of the US based real estate technology company. So what they want to do is like one-stop shopping. They want to give their mortgage and real estate and all this other stuff. This happened in the past. This happened years and years ago when it used to be Canada Trust, Royal Trust. All these trust companies, they thought they'd get involved in the real estate business. So they started Royal Trust Real Estate, Canada Trust Real Estate, whole bunch of them. They did it out in Saskatchewan as well, where credit unions bought real estate companies. And what their idea was for the executives was, hey, we're doing real estate and real estate will just pass on the mortgage to our mortgage people. And it's sort of integrated marketing, right? Didn't work. Because the agents didn't want the bosses to know about financing. They wanted more selection. They didn't want to have to go to Royal Bank. They didn't want to have to go to Canada Trust. They wanted to have an option to go to other places. And the bottom line for the Royal Bank and for these companies here, the profitability of the brokerage was such that it wasn't worthwhile. So they just gave it up. And that's now why you have Royal LePage, because it used to be AE LePage and it used to be Royal Trust. And AE LePage bought Royal Trust and changed the name to Royal LePage. There's a bit of a history lesson. So even though RBC is going to be doing this, I'm not scared of it because they're going to realize that they're not going to be able to pay. I don't know. What do VPs at Royal Bank get paid? Anybody have any idea?
What? 500 and half a million?
I don't know. What is a bank manager at a bank branch earn?
100K?
120.
Something around there. Anyways, I know that I know the math, so it doesn't work. 5 best condos in Toronto. Do you agree or disagree? Shangri-La is number 1.
With all the problems. Yeah.
What's the problem? What happened there?
You know, Shangri-La had a lot of problems selling them, though, so they
Oh,
spread the building.
Where is it, in downtown or?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Shangri-La, yeah, it's on the Simcoe Street. Is it?
Is it 4 season apartments as well?
Yeah, One Bloor is number 2.
Yeah.
One Bloor is on the east side.
One Bedford or one Bloor?
One Bloor,
East.
east side.
West hasn't come yet.
No, the west is
Construction.
this is east, yeah. East is Great Gulf, right?
Yeah.
Pier 27 condos.
Yeah.
You guys know that?
Yeah,
Old one, very sure.
It's on the Queen's Quay.
yeah, on the west side.
Oh, the older ones? Or-
Palace Pier or?
East, no.
It's just this is Queen's Quay right downtown.
No, that was so.
And 488 University.
Oh,
Is that your order?
Not that nice, is it?
I don't know. Didn't give you the name of the building.
So you said 5, this is 4,
And the 5th one's the 90 lofts.
90?
90
Kennedy Road.
lofts. It's at 90 Broadway Avenue. Is that East Shore?
90?
Yeah. Good. I don't know if you guys are gonna do this or not. You guys do walk scores? I know you have web pages that do walk scores, and we have walk scores on Toronto Less, do we not? Toronto Less show walk scores? Not sure. Anyway, so there's one here now, you can do a climate check. So you can actually, there's a score that you can actually go and they'll do a climate score on based on climate between 1 to 100. So if you've got a house that's I don't know, I guess in Newfoundland where you might get blown away with the waves, it's going to be a climate score of 100 or something there. If you're in Toronto, maybe the climate score is 10. I can't see this going anywhere.
Walking upwards.
I checked with Engen there on that stuff going on in Turkey with the earthquake and that. He's got family over there. He's okay. So that was 20,000 people plus, it's over 30,000 now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so England's, I don't know, England's working with his community there. If anybody has some compassion, you can touch bases with him too, if you want to go from there. Bidding wars. Okay, so I'm still seeing lots of bidding wars again, if they're engineered properly. They're out there, the market's still going there. And I think that, look at the number of people here. So the sun's coming out, things are changing. Spring is almost here, but we still have an April snowstorm to come. I got this wrong. I said this last week. I said it wrong. I'll say it correct now. I thought that for some reason that other boards would allow us to put listings on their boards at no cost. It's the other way around. The Durham board is telling their people, their members, that they can put listings on the Toronto board at no cost. Not the other way around. Right. So no, it's not a Durham board, no. So if you're a Quinty board, or if you're a Peterborough board, or what these other boards in that, and you want to have your listing on the Toronto Real Estate Board, Toronto Real Estate Board will allow them to put it on the Toronto board for no cost.
But for us to put on their board.
For you to put on their board, you got to do the interboarding. I think you still have the interboard, but it's $50, whatever it is.
$50?
Depends on the board.
Like a battery.
Yeah.
Depends on the board, right? But why don't they have one board for everybody? I think that'll be the goal. But I think Trev wants to be the boss, and I think the other people don't agree.
They're right not to like the Trump because they're selling everything anyway, so.
It's not here right now. I'll leave this for next week. Will we avoid a recession this year? It's actually starting to look like we could. So that's good news. So have you guys, recession is when prices reverse, prices drop. So are we seeing a recession in real estate?
Yes.
All right. But how about everything else? How about your gas, or how about your gas, or your food, or other things like that? There doesn't seem to be a recession at all, right? And I think that on the real estate side, I think maybe it's stopped. I think that the recession stopped. I think prices have stopped reducing. Does anybody believe me there?
Yeah.
I think they're at an end. They've already done their thing. And of course, we're waiting for April. April's the time when the governments come out with all their fun stuff, and we're still waiting for that to come out. We're waiting for Real Estate Business Broker Act. Actually, no, what do they call it? The Trust in Real Estate Act. Those rules will be effective on April 1st. We've still got a couple of months to go there. What else is going on there? We've got the non-residence tax, which is okay. I read someplace somebody asked a question about if you're a non-resident, there's the non-resident ban. But if you're a Canadian citizen or a permanent resident, the non-residence does not apply. So even if you do not live here, even though you're a Canadian citizen, but you're non-resident,
You can still buy.
you can still buy. Okay, so if you got anybody in those particular cases, then that's the situation there.
One of the guys were asking
Any-
now, and
Whether
Yeah,
it's a state-
yeah, I had to look into that last week, more detail. Okay, then this Wednesday, last Wednesday, we had our phone calling thing with Ginny. So Ginny, how'd that go? Is it, how many people? We had quite a few. How'd it go last week? Did people actually phone call?
We had several different methods. They all pick what they want to do.
So what we did,
Texted, some emails, some calls.
yeah, so we do it on Wednesday. We had everybody here, and you can come here any Wednesday. You can do it, you don't have to wait Wednesday, but we had everybody phone call, but some people came here and the idea wasn't necessarily a phone call. The idea was to contact people. So we had some people that would email, they sat here and emailed, or they text messages, or they phone called, all the things that they did, right? So that was what we're trying to do, and that worked out good. It'd be nice to keep that going somehow.
March 8th is the next.
March 8th, the next one. Okay. And this Wednesday, we have a lawyer coming here. He's gonna bring lunch apparently, and he's gonna be talking about the,
vacant home tax, and then I think he'll be open to like Q&A for anything. A lot of people like to pick his brain for landlord stuff too.
yeah, I think we're okay here with the vacant home tax. And I think, everybody here understands that, right?
Yeah.
Anybody here not understand it? Nobody's gonna put their hand in.
The time is 11:30. So I'm sure we can open it up to any topic as well.
And family day. Next Monday. So no meeting next Monday then.
Carly's gonna be teaching on the Wednesday.
22nd is pre-construction.
Okay, and then 22nd would be pre-construction with Carter. Okay, so we won't be meeting on Monday, but there'll definitely be one on Wednesday.
What are you doing? Carly, teaching them how to
Teach-
how pre-
Yes, so not one project, we'll just teach overall pre-construction. But this Thursday, we also have an actual project, so called LSQ, so I'll send out email on that today.
Okay, so LSQ is coming up and they do a presentation on that. So Carter, next week, then we talk about pre-construction. Roy, Alex did talk about the assignment sales and so what's the plan, Alex, to get those marketed? I mean, we're not allowed to advertise them on MLS. Facebook Marketplace is one.
Broker pocket?
Kijiji's another one.
Yeah, me too.
There's Broker Pocket.
Yeah, I put something on both points too. My picture's never loaded up and I can't edit it or anything. It's pretty weird.
I don't even need a
Alright.
picture on it, don't worry.
Yeah. And then there's other ones out there too. But you want to be, just be careful that they're being managed by you and not, the leads are coming to you and not going to somebody else, right? So. Anybody getting those emails from assignments sales, put the assignment sales on this webpage and you go to it and it's got other people's names on it, right? So you don't want that.
As long as they sell it, just looking for buyers. Everyone has listings, no one has assignment buyers.
That's the problem, man.
I don't even mind if they want to take the leads to find a buyer.
Wouldn't it be a buyer lead?
If they get it, good, bring me an offer, we have the listing, so.
All right. Anything else? Somebody want to talk about anything?
How many decisions you have seen in your lifetime?
How many which?
Recession, too many.
John Tory, I'm not that old. Worst one. Yeah, I don't recall the recessions as much as inflations. I remember back in the 70s, the inflation was nuts. We'd have to quote on something that would take you 6 weeks to build. And I was in a different business here, but it would take you 6 weeks to build something. We couldn't give them a price. We give them a price today and tell them it's subject to escalation, meaning that it's $100 today, but by the time I make it in 6 weeks, it could be $200. So that was bad back then.
Yeah, are we expecting another interest rate hike this year?
Another March.
The government can do what, eight sessions per year? And the last time they indicated that they're not gonna do it for a while, but they can if they want.
Someone I met yesterday said there's one coming in March.
Well, March is the next time. So the next time they'll announce it, whether they do it or not, you know.
Okay.
So I've got Varan here. So Varan, you're getting many people trying to do pre-approvals. Are you getting? That's what I'm wondering, like you're getting more and more pre-approval
Last
requests?
3 weeks, it's like last week. was really high.
Yeah, and this is the start, right? This is the canary, right? So when people try to apply for pre loans or pre-approvals, this is the beginning of the chain. So Varan has noticed in the last couple of weeks that he's getting a little more activity in the pre-approvals, which would come down to our side. I mean, the sales right now are what? They're minus 50%, 56%, 52%. That's not going to last, right? Right now we've got 9,800 active listings. Sales were 1,700 last year, 3,700. So sales are down 52%. So even at 17, let's say 1,800, if we double that, 3,600, maybe 4,000 for the month, that's nowhere near a normal market. Normal market for the spring is going to be like 10,000. So this tells me that again, there's all kinds of pent-up demand. That's all. There's not like the market's disappeared, not like it's the end of the world. Just that the buyers are waiting, the sellers are waiting, and that's it. But I think just based on what's happening there. I think it's gonna be there. You just want to make sure that you're the person there that when somebody decides to make a move, they're gonna be calling you. And this is why we went back into the Moxie Works with all the email marketing, all the campaigns. Hopefully you guys got that going. If you didn't get it going, ask for help. Very simple thing. Who's done that already? Who's done the campaigns on the market on the Moxie Works? Just one? That's all? Two? And so as I said before, no competition, right? So, simple thing to do. And you want, so when your buyers are ready to do something, you want them to call you. Leases again are 9,400. Leases are only down 6%. So everybody's gone from the buying market to the leasing market. That's where you're going. Anything else? Any questions from Facebook? Nothing there, Carly? Nothing there? You guys are doing okay, guys. All right. So we won't see you next week, but we'll see you the week after. Thanks.
Thank you.